The level characters are used for internal purpose. Right, boss? Next, sometime the same ID will also be displayed like 15 character. We are going to use 18 character. Sometimes while Salesforce is displaying, it may also display in the form of 15 characters. The same 18 character ID will also be displayed like 15 characters. But what is the difference? This 15 character ID is a case sensitive. The 15 character ID is a case sensitive, 18 is not case sensitive. Now, only one ID will be created, that is 18 character. While Salesforce displaying, in some of the cases, the 18 characters will be reduced to 15 characters and displayed. The same ID sometimes will be displayed like 15 characters. Right? It is a case sensitive, whereas 18 character is a case insensitive. Am I clear with this? This is the first field what we have created. So let us go to the second one. We have is deleted. What is the purpose of this is deleted? It is a Boolean field. When I say is deleted, it is a Boolean field. Listen to the format. We have name, phone. I have a table with the following data. Name, phone is deleted. Shop. Now, generally, when you delete a record, what will happen? Record will be deleted from the database. But in the Salesforce, when you delete the record is not deleted from the table. When you delete the record is not deleted from the table. Still it is there in the table for 15 days. Whenever any record is deleted, it will be there in the table for 15 days. After 15 days, record will be deleted permanently. Whenever you delete a record is not going to be deleted permanently. It will be staying in the table for 15 days. After 15 days, record will be deleted. During these 15 days, how do I know that this record is a deleted record? When you delete the record, still the record is in the table only. Then how do you know the record is a deleted record? So we have a field called is deleted. Whenever you delete a record, the value of this field is kept as true, which indicates it is a deleted record. Don't use for logics. Whenever is deleted equal to true, that record will be displayed in the recycle bin. Whenever you delete a record, the value of is deleted is kept as true, and the record will be displayed in the recycle bin. Any record that is displayed in the recycle bin, the value of is deleted equal to true. Whenever you delete any record is going to be staying in the recycle bin for 15 days. After 15 days, record will be deleted permanently. Any record that you delete will not be deleted permanently. It will stay in the recycle bin for 15 days. After 15 days, the record will be deleted. So let us see this. Just now we have created one record. So whatever the record we have created, I am deleting it. Any record that is deleted, it will go to the recycle bin and display. It will go to the recycle bin display. If it is displayed in the recycle bin, it means the value of is deleted equal to true. I hope I am clear. So it's a Boolean value. Whenever the record is deleted, the value of this field is kept as true. And when you delete a record, it is not permanently deleted. It will go to the recycle bin, stay there for 15 days. After 15 days, the record is going to be deleted. After 15 days, the record is going to be permanently deleted. Am I clear with this? See, when value is true, record is deleted. When value is false, what does it mean? It's not deleted. Right. Now, let us go to the third one. We have created date. Third field is created date. It is a date and time field. Date along with the time. Date along with the time. Created date. What is the purpose of this? This will store date and time when the record was created. This will store date and time when the record was created. Date and time when the record was created. Date and time when the record was created. Similarly, we have last modified date. Last modified date. So record can be modified manually, programmatically. I can modify the record manually or programmatically. When you say last modified date, this will store the date and time when the record was modified manually. When you say last modified date, it will store the date and time when the record was modified manually. We can modify the record manually or programmatically. When you say last modified date, it will store date and time when the record was modified manually. That is, you open the record, modify the record. So, this will store date and time when the date time of the record, or we can say this will store the date time when the record was modified last. Then we have system mod stamp. When it is system mod stamp, it will store date and time when the record was modified manually or programmatically. When it is a last modified date, it will store date and time when the record was modified manually. When it is system mod stamp, it will store date and time when the record was modified manually or programmatically. It will store date and time when the record was modified manually or programmatically. Then we have next one. Created by ID. Created by ID. When I say created by ID, when you create a new user, every user we create in the Salesforce. I am creating a user. Let us say setup, manage users. Every user will have 18 character unique ID. Whenever I create a user, you will have 18 character unique ID. User is also a record. Faraj is a record in the user table. Satish is a record in the user table. Wilson is a record in the user table. In the table, if I create a record, we are going to get 18 character ID. So in the user table, Faraj is a record. In the user table, Satish is a record. In the user table, Wilson is a record. So every user will have 18 character unique ID. So when I say created by ID, it will store ID of the user who created this record. ID of the user who created this record. Then we have last modified. We had last modified by ID. ID of the user who modified this record lastly. So these are the 7 system fields that are created by the Salesforce. 7 system fields that are created by the Salesforce. So system fields: ID, is deleted, created date, last modified date, system mod stamp, created by ID, last modified by ID. These are the 7 fields which are created by the Salesforce. Out of these 7 fields, these fields are called system audit fields. Which fields are called system audit fields? Created date, last modified date, system mod stamp, created by ID, these fields are called system audit fields because it is going to store the information like who created, when he created, who modified, when he modified. That's the reason these 5 fields are called system audit fields. These 5 fields are called system audit fields. They are system fields only, but the alternate name for this is system audit fields. Now, let me give you one business use case. the issue what we faced on this. Now, we had one issue on this. While working on this application, we had some issue with this. Look at the requirement. I'll explain the requirement. I'll explain the issue what we faced in the project. Basically, we are integration team. I was working as an integration architect there, right? So every week we get the data. We are integrating with 38 applications. We are centralized data. Almost 38 applications are running with that. Okay, it's a sales. So every Saturday we'll be uploading the data using a Delboomi. We have a ETL tool called Delboomi. Using Delboomi ETL tool, we are uploading the data into the Salesforce. Right. Every Saturday we do it on the weekly basis. Every Saturday we'll be automatically uploading the data by using a Delboomi ETL. Okay. We get a centralized data. We capture the data from centralized system. We'll upload it to the Salesforce. This is my requirement. So what happened? The Delboomi is installed on my system. Now, once you log into the Delboomi, the system time zone will be taken into consideration. The moment I log into Delboomi, whatever the system time zone is there, that time zone is taken into consideration. Now, my team is working from Chennai, so my time is we are in the IST time zone. So the guy, when he was trying to upload the data into the application, it is a German application, he forgot to change the time zone. And he uploaded the data. So, if you don't change the time zone, by default it is going to take the time zone of user who logged in. So what happened? IST was taken. When the IST was taken and records are uploaded, then created, there is a difference in the created date. Because as per the IST, the records are created 1 day ahead of the requirement. 1 day ahead of the, 1 day advanced record was created. Like it was to be created on 21st of June, but the data is showing records are created on 22nd June. Records are created on 20th June. Then what happened? We have a business logic which runs after 6 months. After every 6 months, there will be a renewal process for this. Right? The customers are getting notification and late fees 1 day advance. The customer started reporting that, boss, you are fining us 1 day earlier. 1 day earlier. When we received, almost 75,000 records are updated on the day. And the issue was into light after 6 months because the calculations are done after 6 months. The renewal calculation process is happening after 6 months. For the 6 months, there is no issue. After 6 months, the customer started reporting, you are fined, illegally fining us 1 day well in advance. So when we received the cases, then we identified all the users who are reporting, they all belongs to one set of, all those records belongs to one particular day. Then we identified that the records which we uploaded, there is something wrong with the created day. Now we need to resolve this. So what is the option we have? Go to the database, modify the created date. But it is a system field. When it is a system field, you are not authorized to modify any data because only Salesforce can create and modify. So I don't have a choice of modifying the created date. Then we have other alternative. That is, export the data. Then from database, export the data, delete all the data, and re-upload. When you re-upload, age of the record will be lost because it is a 6 months old record. When I delete and upload it, the age of the record is lost. So second solution is also not suitable. Then we communicate with the Salesforce team to resolve this. We are a platinum customer, so we communicate with the Salesforce team to help us in this aspect. So when we raise a case, they enable an option called edit on audit fields. Edit on audit fields. There is an option. By default, you will not get this option. So when you communicate with the Salesforce team, it really affecting your business. If the impact on the business is high, then they will enable an option called edit on audit fields. This option will be enabled for only 1 week. Once this option is enabled, you will be allowed to modify all these fields except system mod stamp. Except this field, rest of the fields can be modified. So we raise a case with the Salesforce team. They enable an option called edit on audit fields. Then we modified a created date and re-upload it. So in case if you want to modify any one of the audit fields, yes, still you have a choice. Even though those fields are system fields, which means you cannot modify, you cannot enter the data, you cannot create or you cannot enter the data. The data is created by Salesforce and data is also updated by the Salesforce. But you can raise a case with the Salesforce team and request them to enable an option called edit on audit fields. That option is enabled, it will be there for 1 week. Within that week, whatever the data modification you want to perform, you can perform and update. So this is one of the issue what we face in terms of system audit fields. Right. Fine, boss. What are the system audit fields? These system fields are nothing but created by the Salesforce, updated by the Salesforce. You have only read permission. You are not authorized to modify. Still, if you want to modify, yes, we have a choice. Raise a case with the Salesforce team. Request them to enable the option of edit on audit fields. Then they'll ask you the severity of the issue. Okay, impact on your business. Okay, and then based on the impact on your business, they'll enable this option called edit on audit fields. Once it is enabled, it will be there for week time. After 1 week, automatically it will be disabled. I hope I'm clear with this. People are clear with this requirement? Okay, this is one of the issue what I faced. Right. The next. What is the difference that you find between last modified date and system audit date? When you say system audit date, date and time. What date and time? When the record was modified, last day, programmatically or manually. Now when you say system audit stamp, date and time when the record was modified programmatically or manually, this is only manually. Date and time when the record was modified programmatically or manually is system audit stamp. Date and time when the record was modified manually is called last modified date. I hope I'm clear with these fields. These are called system fields. These are called system fields. Let us go to the standard fields. I told you. Now, these fields are created by the Salesforce and values are entered by the user. Now look at the format. Who created all these fields? Account. New. Who created all these fields? Salesforce has created all these fields. Who is going to enter the data? We are going to enter the data. Now fields are created by the Salesforce, values are entered by us. Now if you look at standard fields and standard objects, there are so many fields. We will not go through all the fields. But on every custom object, there are only 4 standard fields. On standard objects, there are so many standard fields which are created by the Salesforce. But on custom objects, there are only 4 standard fields. Look at the point. Setup, build, create, objects, then you are finding it. Customer. What are the standard fields we have? Created by, name, last modified by, owner. These 2 are system fields only. Created by ID, last modified by ID. These 4 fields are called as what? Standard fields. On every custom object, Salesforce is creating 4 standard fields. On every custom object, Salesforce is creating 4 standard fields. What are those fields? Created by, name, last modified by, owner. Right. Created by means ID of the user who created this. Name, already we have seen, whenever a new custom object is created, by default a name field will be created. Last modified by ID of the user who modified this record last thing. Owner. Every record will have a owner. He is the person responsible for maintaining this record. So there are 4 standard fields which are created by the Salesforce on every custom object. I am repeating, on every custom object. We are not discussing about standard fields on standard objects. On every custom object, there are 4 standard fields which are created by the Salesforce. What are they? Created by, name, last modified by, owner. These are the 4 fields which are created by Salesforce on every custom object. Go back to the next object. Loan. Created by, last modified by, name, owner. On every custom object, Salesforce create 4 standard fields. They are created by, last modified by, name, owner. Am I clear with this? Okay. Now, let us go to the next one. Custom fields. What are custom fields? These are created by the user according to his organizational business requirement. The fields which are created by the user according to organizational business requirement are called custom fields. The fields which are created by the user according to his organizational business requirement are called custom fields. Now the question is, when you want to create a custom field, we need to identify the data types. What type of field is this? Is it a number field, age field, currency field, checkbox? What type of field is this? So we need to understand. To understand this, let us see the data types what we have. If you want to create a custom fields, we need to understand the data types. First data type is text. When you say text, what is the format of the data? Alphanumeric. We can also include special characters. Alphanumeric along with the special characters. Now what is the maximum length? 255 characters. Whenever you say text data, whenever you say data type as a text, it's an alphanumeric, maximum length is 255. I can take the collection of characters up to 255 characters. Is it a single line or multiple lines? Is it a single line or multiple line? We can take the complete data should be in a single line. Format of the data is alphanumeric. Maximum length of the data is 255 characters. Is it a single line or multiple lines? It is single line. But when I am taking an address, suppose you want to enter the address. Address is going to be in multiple lines. If you want to split the data into multiple lines, then we have the next data type, which is called text area. Where is the text area? What is the format of the data? Format of the data, alphanumeric. Alphanumeric. It also accepts special characters. Then, what is the maximum length? Maximum length is 255 characters. Single line or multiple lines. So, size-wise, both of them are same. But only the difference is, if you want to take the data in multiple lines, we go with the text area. You want to take a data in a single line, text. Text is for a single line, text area is for multiple lines. Then, if I want to take any data more than 255 characters, I want to take a description, I want to take a remarks. If you want to take any data which is more than 255 characters, then I will go with the text area. Text area long. When you say text area long, format of the data is alphanumeric. Format of the data is alphanumeric. Max length. Max length 1,31,072 characters. This is the max length. By default, they only provide 32,768. If you want, you can increase. By default, they give 32,768. If you want, you can increase up to 1,31,000 characters. Then, what is the minimum length? Minimum length is 256. If it is less than 256, I can go with what? Text area. Is it a single line or multiple line? Multiple line. Then, when you say text area long, it is alphanumeric with the special characters. Maximum length is 1,31,000. Default length is 32,000. Minimum length is 256 characters. Single or multiple, it is a multiple lines. Then we have text area rich. What is this text area rich? Look at the format. When I am taking any word, you want to format the data. I have some data here. I want to format the data. So what I'm doing here, we are formatting the data. If you want to format the data, we call this as what? Formatting the data. Formatting the data. This is called formatting the data. If you want to format the data, applying the watermark, applying the background, italic, bold, this type of formatting. This is called formatted data. What we call it as formatted. Alignment, bold, italic, watermark, underscores, all this is called as what? This is called formatted data. If you want to take the formatted data, like when you are typing an email, in the body of the email, you are getting what? Formatted data. In the body of the email, you have a choice to align the data. Left, right, okay, apply bold, italic, font size, color. That is called formatted data. If you want to take a formatted data, then we take text area rich. If you want to take data which is formatted, then we take data type called text area rich. Text area rich, which is called formatted data. What is the format of the data? Then, what is the maximum length? 1,31,000. What is the default length? What is the default length? 32,768 characters. Now, single line or multiple lines? Single line or multiple lines? Multiple lines. Single line or multiple line? Multiple lines. Then, minimum number of lines. So if you want to upload any images, then we preferably take text area rich. So text area long, text area rich. These are the some of the data types. Next we have checkbox. What is the purpose of the checkbox? If you want to store true or false, we use checkbox. The next data type what we have is checkbox. Then similarly we have currency. If you want to store any currency values, amount, price, tax, any value, any currency value you want to store, the data type is currency. This is to store currency values. Now when you say currency value, what is the maximum value I can take? What is the maximum value you can take? Length of the data is 18 characters. What is the length of the data? 18 characters. When you say 18 characters, what it includes? 18 character means includes length of the integer and the length of the decimal. Length of the integer and decimal together 18 characters. I have this was my currency value. So where I have 6 plus 2. Maximum length can be 18 characters. Here I give 8 characters. Maximum length of the currency can be 18 characters, which include length of integer plus length of decimal. Both together, maximum length can be 18 characters. Length of integer plus length of decimal together, it can be 18 characters. Right. Next we have number. If you want to take any numerical value, maybe a decimal value, maybe integer value. These are used to store what? These are used to store numerical values. What is the length? What is the length of this? Maximum length is 18 characters. When you want to store any numerical values, we go with number. Data type number, which is used to store numerical values. If you want to store any numerical values, we go with number. If you want to store any currency value, we go with the currency. Similarly, we have percent. What is this percent? After the value, percentage symbol will be appended. We are going to add percentage symbol after the value. These are used to store what? Percentage values. What is the purpose of this percent? These are used to store percentage value. Like I gave 32. When it is stored, it will store like 32%. It is going to add percentage symbol after the data. So what are the data types we have? Text area long, text area rich, checkbox, currency, number, person. Number, person. If you want to store the emails, we have a data type called email. This is used to store email addresses. If you want to store the email address, we have a predefined data type called email. These are used to store the email addresses. Email. These are used to store email addresses. Then already there is a built-in validation rule available to check the format of the email. There is a built-in validation rule available to check the format of the email. So generally what we do, we create a email as a text field, write the validation to check whether the data what we entered is in the form of email or not. But here, when you choose the data type as email, built-in validation rule is there, which will take the format of the email, which will take the format of your email. Then we have phone. Again, these are used to store the phone numbers. Again, it also has a built-in validation. The point here is the data types have built-in validation rules to check the format. The data types have built-in validation. If you take it as a text, you need to apply the validation rule. They have given a specific to the format of the data because they have internally taken built-in validation rules to check the format. Okay. So email, phone number. Then we have one more data type called URL. These are used to store the URL of the site or page. These are used to store URL, web page or site. Then we have geolocation. If you want to store the longitude and latitude, then we take the data type called geolocation. It is used to store longitude and latitude. These are used to store longitude and latitude. Geolocation. These are used to store longitude and latitude. Then we have date. If you want to store a date value, 25th March 2017, I want to store a particular date. I want to store a particular date, 25th March 2017. When is a date? When is a date? It is in the form of, I told 25th June 2017. When you want to store a particular date value, we choose the data type as date. Generally, Salesforce will take the date in the form of year, month. All the functionalities, whatever we have, all the predefined functions or functionalities what we have, they will consider the date in the form of year, month, day. All the predefined FX functionalities we have, they will consider the date in the form of year, month, day. If you want to store date and time, this will store date along with the time. This will store date along with the time. So these are the some of the data types. Still we have pick list, multi-select, pick list. First let us create the following fields. Then I will come back to the pick list and multi-select. So whatever the material I have given hard copy, I have given you. All these data types, I have given the notes for that. So whatever the hard copy I have given, it contains whatever we discussed. All the points, whatever we discussed, we have given this. So we have a text area long, text area rich, phone, checkbox, currency, date, date type, number, percent, email. We are going to discuss this. Pick list, multi-select. Once I create a couple of fields, I'll come back to this. Right, boss? Now, let us see how to create a field. How do you create a custom field? Look at the format. If you want to create a custom field, setup, build, create, choose the object. In the customer object, I want to create. Then we have here custom fields and relations. Step number 1, Choose the data type. Choose the data type. Text. Enter the field details. I give length equal to 80. I am not touching anything here. I just made the field as required. I want to get this mark. I made the field as required. Next. Next. See. We are not touching any next steps. I am just giving next and see. Then. Go back next again. Setup. How do you create the field? Setup. Build. Create. Object. Customer object. Custom fields and relations. New. Choose the data type. Text. First name. You. Next. Next. What is the format? Setup. Build. Create. Object. Choose the object. New. I'm choosing checkbox. Next. So what is the format? Steps are saying choose the data type, enter the field details. Next. Next. The format of the creation is same. What is the first step? Choose the data type. Second step, enter the field details. Enter the field details. Save the field. Enter the field details. Next, and save. So what I've done? Next one. Date. Choose the data type. Data of birth. Next. Are you clear about this process here? So what is the first step? Choose the field. Data type is email. Next. 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 Like this we have created. So we have a phone number. Next. Enter the field details. This is how we have created the fields. All the fields what we created will have what? Underscore. This is one way of creating the fields. We also have other format of creating the fields. What is the other format? Setup, build, develop. Then we have schema builder. Setup, build, develop, schema builder. Now, choose the elements. What do you want to create? I want to choose text. Company name. I'm taking text. PAN number. And I've got text area. Right, boss? We are just selecting the field. Select the field. Drop it. Choose the field. Drop it. Simply save it. This is how we have created the fields. We can also create the fields by using what? Schema builder. Right. So what was that? Select the object. Loan. The loan object. I got a loan object. Choose the elements. I'm getting it. Date. Apply date. Currency. currency, applied amount, then salary. Simply drag and drop the fields, create the fields. I hope you are clear. This is the second way. We can create the fields using schema builder. We can also create the fields using standard navigation. Right. Now the point is, you created an object. Objects are created, fields are created. But how to open this object? You created an object file, but how do you open this object? How do you create the records? How do you modify the records? If you create an object, you will not get a permission of the object. If you create an object, you cannot open the object. So how to open the object? If I want to open a particular object, what I need? Tab. What I need? Tab. I need a tab to create a record. So I need to see how to create a tab for an object. How to create a tab for an object. So how do you create a tab? Look at the format. Setup, build, create, tab, new custom object tab, web tab, Visual Force tab, lighting page tab. When you click on this tab, object will open. When you click on this tab, web page will open. When you click on this tab, Visual Force page will open. When you click on this tab, lighting application will open. So these are how many types of tabs we have? 4 types of tabs we have. Custom object tab, web tab. Okay, custom object tab, web tab. You are disturbing the class. Not interested, move out. We are not worried. Right. So what is the format we have? Custom objects, web tabs, Visual Force tab, lighting tab. So what is this custom object tab? When you click on the tab, the corresponding object will open. When you click on the web tab, corresponding web page will open. When you click on the tab, corresponding Visual Force page will open. When you click on the tab, corresponding lighting page will open. So these are the 4 types of tab. Right now, if you want to use all these 3 tabs, we need to go for development. Because web pages are created using development, lighting pages are created using development, and lighting pages are created using development. Right now, we are only doing what? Custom object tab. Click on the tab, new, then you are finding an object. Select the object, I have taken custom. When you click on the tab, what should be the color of this tab? What should be the color of this tab? Choose the object. When you click on that, what should be the color? Now, what are these? Clerk, manager, all these are what? Profile. Who can see this tab? You are creating a tab file. Who are allowed to see this tab? Who are allowed to see the tab? Now we have 3 permissions. Look at the point. Default on, default off, tab hidden. When you say default on, what do you mean by default on? Now, all the users with this profile can see the tab. Tab is visible on tab panel. Tab is visible on tab panel. You can see the tab. Tab is visible on tab panel. You can see the tab. Tab is visible on tab panel. When you say default off, you can see the tab, but not on the panel. You need to click on plus. When you say default on, you can see the tab. Tab is added on the panel. When you say default off, you can see the tab, but not on the panel. You need to click on the plus sign. We need to click on the plus sign and see the tab. Are you clear? Default on, you can see it on the panel. Default off, you can see the tab, but not on the panel. You need to click on the plus sign and see it. Tab hidden. When you say tab hidden, you cannot see the tab. When you say tab hidden, you cannot see the tab. I hope I'm clear. Okay. Now, select for which profile you want to show. Right now I told show to everyone. Every profile default on. Now, look at the point. Someone has asked me at the time of creating an application, can we add a custom tab? Now I created this tab. Now I am deciding in which application I want to add this tab. This is a custom tab. I created my own tab. Now this tab should be added to which application? I told add this tab to only loan management application. only load management application saved. Select the application in which the tab should be visible. So we got here customer. So when you click on the customer table opened. Click on the new, you are able to see the fields what we create. Right, boss? So once again, so how do you create a tab? Setup, build, create, tabs, new custom object tab, load tab. When you click on the tab, what should be the style? Who can see the tab? Default on. You can see on the panel. Default off. You can see but not on the panel. Tab hidden. You cannot see. Permissions are given at what level? Profile level. Next. In which application you want to add? Now, if application is created first, we need to add the tab to the application. If tabs are created first, at the time of creating an application, we'll choose which tab should be included. Right? Then, go to this. Go back. I want to add this on load management. People are clear? So we got load tab. Required. Make it as required. There is checkbox, right? Required. If you enable it, it becomes required. Okay. Now look at the format. I am also going for one more tab. So once again, how do you create a tab? Setup, build, create, tabs, custom object tabs, new tab. You got a payment object. Choose the style. Next, the tab is visible to which profile. Choose the profile for which you want to display. I told for every profile right now it is default one because I didn't design any data model. Later on I will design the data model. Okay. Next, in which application you want to add? I want to add this in loan management as well as instrument management. Both these objects, in both these applications, we are showing the tab. In both the application, show the tab. You got a customer, loan, payment. Right, boss? I hope you are clear. So if you want to see the tab, if you want to see the object, what we need? Tab is required. If I add a tabs to application, for this application I added these three tabs, right? If I add a tabs to application, there are three permissions which are by default given. What are the three permissions? One is create new shortcut. You are able to see customer loan payment. So create new shortcut menu will be given to you. Recent items. Any data you create here, I create a record. You are able to see here loan number 001. Any modification you do on the record, that can be seen in the recent items. At the same time, we can also search for the data from here. The data of this customer loan payment, I can search from global search. What are the three options you are getting here? Create new shortcut, recent items, global search. What are the three options? Create new shortcut, recent items, global search. Are you clear? There are three options which are by default enabled when a tab is added to the application. Whenever you add a tab to an application, three options are by default enabled. What are they? Create new shortcut, recent items, global search. It is app builder certification. This is one of the questions which is asked. Okay. By default, which of the permissions are enabled when a tab is added to the application? Right? They give 5 choices. They ask you to pick any 3. They give 5 options. Ask you to pick any 3. So 3 is going to be global search, create new shortcut menu, recent items. I hope I'm clear. Clear? Okay. New tab. See, if you want to keep this as a home page links on the home page, then we go for it. Let us go to the next one. Look at the format. So we have created an object, we created tab. Now, how do you create the fields once again? Setup, build, create, objects. Okay, then we go to the payment. So you are creating a tab on what? Custom object. Standard objects, already standard tabs are there. One object will have only one tab. One object will have only one tab. This I have multiple applications of ICICI, but all of them belongs to what? ICICI only. So any table you create, it is common for all the applications on your production. If I create one tab, I can use the same tab in multiple applications of your organization. So when I create, what all the applications I have in this production, in all the applications I can use the same object, same tab. One object, only one tab. On one object, I can only create one tab. Same object can be used in multiple applications. Right? And tabs are created for only custom object. Standard object, Salesforce has already created, like accounts, standard tab, contacts, standard tab, opportunities, standard tab. Am I clear with this? Okay. Now, go to the custom objects. See how we are creating. Custom fields and relations. New. Now I'm saying currency. Choose the data type. Next. 1 minute. Amount. So what you are finding here? Required. Someone has asked me. What is that? If you want to make a field as required, we have a checkbox. Make it required. Next. Next. See, we are giving next. What is there in next? We'll discuss again. So go back to the payment. New payment. We got a record. And every record will have what? Yes.
Some fields are enabled to external and can want to
We are not covering that. We got covered. Okay. Right, boss? Clear about this? You have seen the basic format of creation of fields. Right? Creation of fields are clear? Right. Now let us see the properties of these fields. One by one property of the field. So go back to the customer. Let us see. New field. Now let us see one by one field clearly. New. Now I will say email. Next. So you want to give a description. When you say help text, icon will come like this. When you keep a cursor, you get a pop-up box. If you want to give any help information, it should be in this format. So I told I give some help text. Then required. If you want to make the field as required, this one we make it as required. Unique. You don't want to take a duplicate values. Unique. External ID. This is when you are taking the data from external system, then we'll be using it. Okay. We'll be learning about this in the data loader concept. This is while taking the data from the external system, then the purpose of this will be used. This will be used in the upset operation. Right? Right now you don't understand if I explain now. We'll see this in the data loader concept. What is the purpose of it? When you are loading the data from external system, for making an operation like upset, we'll be using it. So while data loader, I'll be discussing this. Default value. You want to print by some value by default in the box, like you got salary 0.00. You want to print some default values, we give it as default value. You next. Right, boss? Now go to the loans, new loan, help information, we are getting it. Alright, boss? The basic details are clear. But in the loan, I have created so many fields, right? In the loan object, there are many fields. But why they are not displayed? If you create the fields using schema builder, they will not be displayed on the UI. they will not be displayed on the UI. We need to go with a concept called page layout and display the field. If you are creating the fields using schema builder, they will not be added on the UI. We need to have an extra concept called page layout. Right? So that's the reason. Even though the fields are there, they are not displayed on the UI. Are you getting my point? So when you are creating the fields, right now create using a standard navigation. Right. Once you cover the concept of page layout, then we can use the schema builder and page layout concept and create the same functionality. Alright, bros? Right. Any other query? See, all these concepts are interdependent. You cannot start with any topic independently. All of them are interdependent. At some point, you have to start and we need to interrelate all the topics. Okay. So, like I told you, now if you want to create a field, we require a profile, we require a field level security, we require a page layout, we require other formats. So, all of them are interdependent. So, we are starting with some area. We are going to cover all the topics and connect them to the overall function. Right, boss? Any other queries on this? Yeah. Yes. See, system field is what? Boolean is what? Checkbox. Checkbox is what? True or false. Boolean will take what? True or false. Obviously, see, anything that will take true or false is a Boolean. Okay, true or false is a Boolean part. So here checkbox is going to take what? The same thing, right? So internally there will be a text internally. Internally there will be a text format. Okay, text format. But the other point is that we are not, if we have a choice to create those fields, we are worried about data type. Okay, as we don't have a choice, internally system is generating some XYZ format. But it is going to be alphanumeric combination. Okay, yes. System fields will be displayed when you create a record. Suppose if you have created any record, let us say, I deleted that, let me go back. Now look at this. When you create a record, on the record you are finding created by, last modified by, created date and time, last modified date and time. Right? What are the points? So once you create the record, because they are created with the Salesforce, once the record is created, on the record they will display. You are literally checking each and every line. ID will be on the top. Will not be on everything on the record. What is this on the top? ID. It is ID. It is a name field. It is a name field. It is a name field. Right. So there are some fields which are available. Again, there is a concept called page layout, from where you need to add the fields. Now, right now what you are seeing is not a complete object. Right now what you are seeing is not a complete object. You need to go to the layouts and rearrange the structure. Okay now? Fine. Any other queries? See, when you say cloud,